Hello, I'm Rob Thomas with Club and Resort Business, and welcome to another edition of the Club and Resort Talks podcast. Today's podcast is sponsored by KE Camps. KE Camps provides the highest quality in children's summer camps for country clubs. The unique setup of KE Camps offers children opportunities to experience a variety of dynamic and innovative programs, all customized to particular needs of the club. KE Camps is dedicated to creating a family-friendly and inclusive atmosphere at each of its partner clubs. They strongly believe this is accomplished by providing a joyful camp experience for each and every camper. Learn more at kecamps.com. Now that we got that out of the way, let's introduce you to Phil Karen, our senior editor. Phil, how's it going?
I'm doing really well, Rob. How are you?
Terrific. No complaints. Hey, what's going
Good.
on in the news? A lot happening right now.
You're right. There is a lot happening. It was a pretty busy week, pretty eventful. A few things I wanted to mention, starting with rackets, actually, down in Raleigh, North Carolina. Raleigh City Council down there approved I guess they approved investing about $10 million in a project for swing, racket, and paddle. They're going to have 80 indoor courts 80 indoor and outdoor courts for tennis, pickleball, paddle, ping pong, and more. So it looks like an exciting project. They're hoping, well, the story we featured on clubandresortbusiness.com this week said they were actually going to call it the Disney World for racket sports. So it's going to have all kinds of facilities there for the variety of racket sports that I just mentioned. The partners, Rob Autry and Jason DeGroff, they're hoping to have 1 million people come through the center every year. They're having a 50-year lease with the city of Raleigh for the property. A big economic benefit, too. They're anticipating it's going to create more than 300 new jobs, total of economic impact of $360 million in just the first 3 years. And they're getting ready to break ground this summer. So that's exciting.
Yeah, Raleigh's a huge area for tech right there in the Research Triangle.
Right.
North Carolina State, North Carolina, Duke, all right in that little area right there, Raleigh-Durham area. A lot going on there. I'm excited to see how this goes about. We talk about all the time, rising tide lifts all ships, and racket businesses get big right now.
It is. And one thing else to mention with that, too, was interesting to note that this project's been in the works since 2018. So I just want to give hats off to everybody that was involved with that to see now that it looks like it's going to move forward. Hats off to them on their persistence, because that's something to be proud of. I've covered, when I was in the newspaper business, there were a lot of big projects I covered, or I should say there was a fair number of proposed projects I covered that never got off the ground for various reasons. So it's nice to see this one happening.
Hey, forgive me if I missed this when you were talking. I was scratching my head, but if I'm not mistaken, it's $125 million project, and
Yeah.
they think maybe $360 million earned revenue over the first 5 years of the project. So, I mean, big dividends if, in fact, it comes to fruition.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm glad you mentioned that, because I think I did forget to mention the $125 million figure there. And yes, that's correct. That's what they're putting into that. So yeah, it's big project. Racket sports have, as we've talked many times about how pickleball's taken off. And I know in a recent interview I had with the folks down at Ballon Isles Country Club, they feel certainly that their racket sports have always been very successful with their club, but they definitely feel that pickleball, the rise in popularity of pickleball, has certainly helped out tennis there as well, and contributed to a little bit of a rebirth for that sport too.
I like how they threw in ping pong. My racket club, Cleveland Racket Club here in Cleveland. I guess it's Pepper Pike, but there's a ping pong table near the squash courts, and my son, that was his favorite part of the facility, was going to play ping pong. So good for them, and looking forward to see how it goes.
Yeah, absolutely. Ping pong. Yeah, it was kind of fun to see ping pong thrown in there too. My parents have a ping pong. They have a combination ping pong table and pool table down in the basement of their house, and my sons, as they grew up, enjoyed playing on that. And I have a 12-year-old nephew who I think can pretty much beat all the adults now in ping pong. He's quite the athlete. So it's fun stuff. Also looking ahead, or looking at another, back to golf. couple really good projects we were noting this week with golf. Um, the Detroit Athletic Club. I'm sorry. Let me say that again. The Detroit Golf Club has an upcoming vote of their membership, um, asking if they would be in favor of the club investing $16 million in a project um, that is going to improve the golf course. The Detroit Golf Club is the home of the Rocket Mortgage Classic PGA Tour event, which it's been the home of that since 2019. I guess one of the big elements that they are going to change is they're going to, if the project goes forward, they would remove a large pond, the par 5 14th hole, and they're hoping that'll help with the drainage there. Also, which I thought was neat, is that this is going to coincide with the club's 125th anniversary. Should also note the course was originally designed by none other than Donald Ross, one of the great golf course architects. So I guess they're having the vote. They're having the members vote on this coming up here fairly soon, first part of March. It's going to close on March 16th. They need an approval rate of more than 60% to get the project to move forward. So exciting one to see and see if that. I'm sure I was thinking too. I'm sure the tour players will be happy if indeed that pond gets removed on the par 5 14th hole there.
Yeah, I think it's coming by way of assessment, which is why
Correct.
the vote is needed. So it's a big check to write for the members, obviously. But that pond is actually a signature hole. And if you watch the Rocket Mortgage, which I do, I'm a golf nerd.
I have.
There's always a big sign that the blimp or the drones are shooting down. And the Rocket Mortgage logo is basically floating on top of that water. So I'm kind of curious what it's going to look like if they're going to just if it'll be bunkers, if it'll be like a waste area, if it'll be just grass. I don't know. I'm
Right.
curious.
I agree, and I might double check that, but I don't think they mentioned what would go there in its place.
Yeah.
Again, I mean, other than they're talking about how it's going to help with drainage, but yeah, I don't know what's going to be there instead. And yeah, it is interesting to note. Indeed, it is a signature hole there at that course. So kind of an interesting decision to be removing an element that makes it a signature hole, if you will.
Yeah, but what drains better than water? I mean, it goes right into the pond, right? I mean, you're gonna
Plus,
fill.
yeah,
You can take a
right.
bunch of water out to solve a water problem. I guess it's a water problem. People hit it. I'm sure I would go in that pond.
Oh yeah, I would certainly find it for sure these days. So, and congratulations to the club on its upcoming anniversary. That's great. 125 years on that.
Big, big, big,
Yep.
big.
And the other one, and actually, this is another one I wanted to mention today. Last one I was going to mention today was that another one involving a famous architect. This time it's Pete Dye, course down in Florida at a resort, Omni Amelia Island Resort. They recently hired architect Bo Welling to renovate their Oak Marsh golf course. They're hoping to have the course reopen October 1st. They're hoping to kind of modernize the layout to meet requirements of today's game. As we know, with all the kind of technological advancements, equipment, players hit it longer than ever. They're also looking to enhance some of the aesthetics of the layout, maybe provide a high quality and consistent playing experience. At the same time, though, they said they are trying to protect the architectural feel of Pete Dye's original 1972 creation out there, which is good to hear. Although to be honest, I don't know the story got into a lot of specifics about what they're doing to preserve the architecture of the past, but I'm glad to see that the project's being, approached with that kind of mindset.
I think Bo Welling is gearing up to set up temporary citizenship there because he's already done I think it's a 9-hole short course and the putting course. So the short course, like I think the Sandy, I think it's what it's called,
Yes,
but
little Sandy, yeah,
Little Sandies. Yeah. So
little
he's
Sandy.
done a lot there already and he's about to do even more. And I think a lot of that, they take a lot of aerial shots and they have all these past pictures of what the bunkers used to look like, what the greens, because the greens shrink over time, obviously with the growth of the grass, and they got to widen those out or, do whatever the case may be, reshape bunkers. But yeah, curious to see how that one's coming out. Bo Welling is a hot name right now in architecture. So good for Bo.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, like you mentioned, they do have that, I guess it's a 10-hole par 3 course
Okay.
there and an 18-hole putting course. So, which, yes, were also created by his architectural firm. So, they're looking to, yeah, rebuild the greens. They'll be regrass with, they'll regrass with Tiff Eagle Bermuda grass. Fairways, tee areas, rough and green collars will be regrass with Tiff Tough Bermuda grass. So, be exciting to see how that all comes out, and looking forward to that one too.
Yeah, that stuff's all over my pay grade.
Great.
I
Yeah.
don't know what the difference between one turf is another. I know that, playing off it, they're all different. And, any superintendent worth his salt can tell you right down to the molecule what difference is. I don't know, but I'm sure it'll be beautiful when it's done. Bo Welling doesn't do bad work. So that's going to be a fantastic project.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Looking forward to that one.
Hey, now that we're through chit chatting, I want to tell you a little bit about what we got going on here. Our next guest is going to be Elsbeth Hurry. She's the CEO and a co-founder of ZIGIT, ZIGIT. Notice I messed up in there. I said zigit.com. It's zigit.app. So if anybody wants to find out what ZIGIT is, ZIGIT.app, and I make a note of that in the in the video that you'll see here, because I did botch it up and she said it correctly. I said it wrong. So I want to say that, stress it right now, zigit.app. But it's basically you're on a golf course. It's a pop machine, but this serves alcohol. You can get bottled beer. You can get Truly, a White Claw, Bud Light, whatever you want. And the secret sauce is not in the machine itself that dispenses the the alcohol. It's in the technology, facial recognition. You sign up, you take a 90-second beforehand to sign up on your phone, and you take a selfie there to thing. Once you pay through your phone, through the app, your alcohol is dispensed. Within a minute, you can have a beer right there. You're not having to wait until you get to the 19th or to the 18th hole or 19th hole, the turn, wait for the beer cart to come by, whatever. It's right there. Very convenient. Courses are setting up on the sixth hole, maybe on the, somewhere in the middle of the back nine.
Mm-hmm.
12, 14. So it's really a lot of technology here. They're at Wells Fargo in the end of the year, that tournament. They have a bunch set up across there, so you don't have to stand in long lines to get a beer or to get a seltzer, whatever. I can imagine the waste management in Phoenix, how many boxes you'd have to set up across that thing.
Oh yeah,
All
that
those booze hounds. But
yes,
yeah,
a lot.
a lot of technology. And she said that, I mean, it could even be used for, you can put sleeves of golf balls in there. I know I've gotten to the sixth hole before and either needed a sleeve of golf balls or a beer, the way I was playing the first five. So so Zigit.app if you want to look at the information. But she talks about all the technology. It's already also in NBA and NHL arenas, American Airlines down in Dallas. So there's a lot that's going on at ZIGIT. So stick around for Elsbeth Hurry from ZIGIT. Hello, welcome back. And I've got a special guest for you, Elsbeth Hurry. She's the CEO and founder of ZIGIT. ZIGIT. What is ZIGIT? Well, Elsbeth, can you please give us the elevator pitch? What is ZIGIT?
Yeah, basically with ZIGIT, we're bringing automation and convenience to the retail of alcohol in golf. So more specifically, we are an app-based platform, a SaaS platform that makes it easy for retailers to sell and guests to buy alcohol, canned or bottled ice cold beverages in less than 30 seconds. So the app enables all of the verification and a lot of other controls so that people can get things where they want them and anywhere on the course, basically.
So, okay, I know there's an answer to this, so I'm going to ask you the question.
Okay.
I'm an 18-year-old punk, just wanting a beer, right? Well,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not old enough to drink a beer. How do you keep me from getting a beer?
Right. So when you first enroll, you actually scan your ID the first time. You also scan your face. It puts, I guess I would call it a face hash onto your phone that's used for future verifications. So that initial enrollment takes about 90 seconds. And then after that, anytime you go to a ZIGIT-enabled station, and we can use almost any type of dispensing station. Then you will scan a box, select what you want. It will make you re-authenticate every time you try to buy something to ensure that you're still of age.
Well, very good. Two of my three kids are not of age, so I'm glad that you put some safety checks in place.
Yeah,
So I am clearly over 21 years old. I can get it. Instant gratification, right? That's big, 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 big
that's
right
it.
now in society. Tell
Right.
us a little bit about instant gratification in the ZIGIT way.
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's become kind of a commonplace requirement for consumers all over every segment. I mean, from your morning coffee to, trying to check out faster, you name it. So as it relates to golf, the idea is that the beer cart service, we're not replacing beer carts where they belong, but we can augment the service that already exists. So if you are at hole 6 and you can't find the beer cart and you really want to drink, nothing's going to stop you from getting one quickly while you're in play. So we're great at placed in restrooms. We're great placed near convenience or comfort stations, driving ranges, top tracer areas, pretty much anywhere, because the hardware that we have only needs power. No Wi-Fi is needed. So everything is managed through your phone. So these can go just about anywhere. A good example of that, we were at our first foray into golf was last year at the Wells Fargo Championship in Charlotte. And so we had 3 different stations set up around the course. And so it just made it, instead of having to wait 30 to 40 minutes for a drink, they were able to get them in under a minute.
That is terrific. That is instant gratification
It
at its
is. Yeah.
finest. And I know I've gotten to the sixth hole and needed a drink before. First
Mm-hmm.
5 were miserable. So thank you for doing that for us. Kind of like I'm thinking about, I go to the grocery store now. There's a long line, but I can go right over to the self checkout, right? Bing, 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 and I'm out of
Mm-hmm.
there. Similar concept.
Yeah. I mean, it's basically a self dispensing system. So everything is done through your phone, everything from selecting what you want to making your payment either through Apple Pay or a credit card. All of that can be stored in your app, and or even member pay for that matter. And then when you go to check out again, you just do a quick selfie. So the process is fast. You can also do a pre-order where if you're in a golf cart waiting for somebody to finish up and you want to order one and you know there's going to be a box at 6, you can just order it ahead. Then all you have to do is scan your face and get your drink. It's really quite fast.
Oh, that's terrific. Is there a learning curve for the golfer?
No, not really. What we found is once somebody has used it once, there's an 80% return rate. You do have that first 90-second enrollment, and it is 90 seconds. So, what most courses are doing where it's possible is to get ahead of it, communicate it to the members. Because if you enroll at home at your desk, 90 seconds. If you're there and you're golfing, it feels more like 5 minutes, right? Because you're talking with friends. And so that's another lesson learned that we had from the Wells Fargo tournament as well. This year we'll be right at the front to help people enroll as they're coming in so that then when they go to any of the 10 different locations that we'll be at this year, they're ready to go and there's nothing to do. So it is really self-intuitive, really simple. Um, there's not a lot of instruction needed. It's very self-sufficient.
So you were recently, I shouldn't say recently, I guess we're still fairly recently within the last month or so at the PGA show in
Mm-hmm.
Orlando. What did you hear from courses? What do you hear from the people that are they're experiencing for the first time?
Yeah, yeah. It was my first time at the PGA show, and it was fantastic. Loved it. It was a great show this year. Lots of activity. In terms of what we heard, I think people really were surprised at how easy it is. We went into it kind of assuming that we had a specific target type of course, and we came out of it completely with a different mindset, in the sense that this really works well for a whole host of different reasons at a wide variety of courses. So, obviously, where people have staffing constraints, it's very helpful. But it's also quite helpful, we found, for a lot of private member courses. They really like it because then everything can go to member pay where they might have an honor system. This has better controls. A lot of different situations are really good for this. So right now we are busy We'll be launching in 10 courses over the next 2 to 3 months. And we're still collecting data, but so far the response has been phenomenal.
I can't wait to hear from more of these courses, get some case studies in place. But can you quick tell us, you're talking to an owner operator of a golf course.
Yeah.
What is the benefit of ZIGIT for me?
Yeah. Well, the most compelling benefits are the profitability benefits. So everywhere that we've been thus far, we've seen an uptick in incremental revenue, which is logically makes sense. If somebody's buying 3 drinks a round and they don't have to wait for a beer cart, they tend to buy more. And there's studies that support that. And so what we've seen is instead of buying 3, they buy 4. So that's an uptick of 25% that wouldn't have happened otherwise. And we do sell primarily, I mean, we're focused on alcohol, but these dispensing stations can also hold Gatorade and water. So, any drink, the incremental sales, you see an uptick. The other big benefit that we've seen is shrinkage. What we've been hearing from golf course owners is that they have up to 20, 25%, sometimes higher in alcohol shrinkage from beer cart service. There's a lot of reasons for that. Some could be overpouring and various other things, but there's no shrinkage with ours. And so it provides a big incremental boost. The other thing too, if you take all the canned drinks out of the beer cart, put them into the boxes, and you still have mixed drinks, you can also start to sell more merchandise, gloves, balls through the beer cart, because now you've got more capacity to sell more things through your existing service. So the biggest piece is obviously profitability. The other pieces that are benefits that are also helpful, I think, for the retailers and the owners is the ability to take some of the less value added transactional time that your staff spends and reallocate that to more guest service experience sort of, focus, that sort of thing. So keep your people and focus them on things that are really going to delight the golfers.
So, okay, if I close my eyes and I'm holding a Bud Light and a Diet Coke, I can't tell the difference what they are. But if I'm holding a Bud Light and a Truly or a White Claw or a bottle of Gatorade or a bottle of water, I can have a pretty good idea. ZIGIT can handle the different shapes and sizes of containers.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Anything that comes in a can or a bottle, or, it has to be a closed container. But the hardware is not really our secret sauce. It's an important piece of the control mechanism. But we can work with almost any type of hardware. So we actually we launched just over a year and a half ago at American Airlines Center in Dallas. So we actually started with the Mavs and the Stars in a sports arena setting. And we're still there today. And we learned a lot from that. And one of the initial things we learned was that people don't really want a lot of fun, interesting things happening with the hardware, because they're where they are to have fun for a reason. So if you're golfing, you're there to golf. That's your fun. You're there to be with your friends. That's your fun. So we actually went to the simplest hardware, the simplest mechanism, the least bells and whistles, the least things to break, something that can stand up to rain, wind, it doesn't matter, very durable. And so we have a very basic hardware mechanism. So within that, you can have the ones that we're using today, you can have up to 10 different drinks. And it holds anywhere from 400 to 600 units. So you only have to refill these as a retailer, once a week. It depends on your churn, but in general, once a week is probably a good target. You can get notifications if something's getting low. And then depending on the size of the bottle, that will determine how many can fit in a slot, because if it's a skinnier bottle, and a tall one, you might not get as many per slot. You just add a spacer. It's very simple. So it's really user friendly. You can swap things out. That is another advantage. It's something that we're still learning about, but because of the enrollment, we do not share any privacy information. Biometric information we don't store, it stays with the person, but we do have anonymized demographic information, and we do save that. So for instance, if you see at your golf course that women like Truly black cherries, and they seem to be the ones buying that SKU. Then if you have a ladies tournament or something, then you might want to stock your machines more towards their preferences because you know what they're buying. And you have a general sense of that in the clubhouse, certainly. But I mean, this is data that tells you exactly who's buying what. So that can be very helpful as well.
Wow, that sounds terrific. So I imagine if you guys get it to WM Open, you're going to have to stock it a little more than once a week. They go through 400, 600.
Yeah. Well, what you do in tournaments is instead of, I mean, you generally size it so that you have enough in a bank of dispensing stations to cover what you need for the day for the most part. So at Waste Management, for instance, you'd need, 150 boxes across that course, not 3 or 4.
Right.
And the other thing for Waste Management specifically that we're talking about is the idea of using our control app-based control system a little bit more towards know your customer KYC, where at almost every concession stand within a tournament, you could have our front end app so that you know exactly how many each person has had, and you can cut people off. So you could say at a tournament, this person can't buy more than 5 drinks or whatever you want to set it for. And then there is ways in the system, if there's an attendant there, to override it if they are not intoxicated, if they are, responsibly drinking. So there's different ways that you can customize that. So on a golf course is the same. You can say no more than, 3 or 4 drinks across the course. And so any level of control by location is kind of our specialty.
Can I buy a beer from my buddy, or does he have to have the face recognition as well?
You can buy one, and just like a concession stand, theoretically, you can hand it to your buddy. But again, if they have limits set up, there's only so many you can buy. You can, if you are the one buying the drinks, somebody else could pay for them in the sense that they could put their credit card into your app if they wanted to do that. But again, if there's limits set, it is by face being delivered, that sort of thing, just so that there's a level of control that we can manage.
Sure, you don't want people getting out of control.
Right, exactly.
So okay, Mark Cuban and the Dallas Stars, or Dallas Mavericks, and the Dallas Stars, the American Airlines, they're in. Right. Are we looking at MLB, NFL? We're going to go bigger in the NBA?
I mean, in terms of future state, our patents really cover the ability to use an app-based platform to determine whether someone's eligibility to buy any controlled item. So that's pretty broad. We're using it for age, for alcohol, because again, we have the app and we have a control dispense system, right? So the two talk to each other. In the future, certainly arenas. We've even had discussions with grocery stores because of theft. I mean, there's a surprising number of things, music venues, hotels and resorts. This can be great for that because in hotels and resorts, you can actually serve guests 24 hours as long as they're a registered guest. And again, we know the front desk can have an interface to patch in who's registered. When you look much further into the future, I mean, our initial intention is really all around sports and entertainment is our primary focus, of which that 80% of our focus in 2024 is golf. We're very committed to golf. But in terms of licensing and other opportunities, we have gone to a healthcare information show, for instance. There's applications in pharmacy. I don't know if you've ever gone to a pharmacy where they're still at lunch because they take 2-hour lunches or something and they can't get staff. 75% of pharmacy tech staff is done doing transactional work versus pharmacy tech work. And, you add dispensing boxes and a lot of that goes away. So you could have a box within Walgreens, let's say, right next to the pharmacy, even if the pharmacy is closed, you could still pick up your items. So there's a lot of applications because, again, we can use almost any type of hardware. In that case, it would be individual lockers for an individual that would pop open. Your app would need to be able to speak with a pharmacist via FaceTime. So there's different things that you can do if you think about all the range of what's possible.
So sky's the limit at this point, right? So we're still kind of low, not only ground floor, but we're climbing.
Yeah, we're right there. We are right at the start of what I would call expansion. We've road tested this. We feel great about what it does, how it works. The customer experience has been great. So now we're really at that point of expansion. That's where we're at right now.
And what are you hearing? You mentioned you were at the PGA show and you talked to
Mm-hmm.
some courses. Do they want to see other? I mean, could you put something else in there besides a canned substance? Could you put sleeve of golf balls? Could you put something else
We
that they can
could. Yeah. I
theoretically
mean,
use?
we can do anything that vends, we can do. Again, we are the one that verifies somebody's eligibility to buy, but you could tap anything into it. Since we can use almost any hardware, if you think about all the vending solutions out there in the world, we would just source like something that would hardware that would enable what they want to have happen. And there's a lot of startups actually within golf that do cool things for golf, and you could still patch it into the same purchase system. We can also do what I would call virtual boxes. And we haven't done a lot with this on golf courses yet, but you can basically set up a virtual box for the turn where you could have mixed drinks. They could buy them before they come up, and then, the handoff could happen when they get there. So there are a lot of other applications that could be added into that. The primary focus initially in golf courses is the convenience of beverages is where we started.
So the hardware is the easy part. The secret sauce comes in the phone and then the technology.
That's right. That's right. The
Perfect.
platform itself is what controls everything.
Perfect. Elsbeth, give us. Oh, let's get you out on this one.
Yeah.
How can a golf course, a resort, how can a club reach you? Website, email, anything, contact information that a website needs or that a club needs to know.
Yeah. So the website is www.zigit.app. So just one G dot app. So they can reach us that way. And we watch that line all the time. And from there, we would get direct contact to get them in touch with the right people within our organization. We are very much, in season, I guess you could say, for golf right now. So again, what we've seen a lot of is people putting in a box at their driving range or top tracer area, and maybe two around a course. It depends on the number of holes and also the setup of the course. But that's usually a great place to get started. And that's usually having about 3 boxes on a course. They start to see an immediate uptick in incremental sales.
And we're talking about, okay, so reducing shrinkage.
Mm-hmm.
That seems redundant, but okay, so we're shrinkage is being eliminated,
Mm-hmm.
incremental revenue climbing. Uh,
Yes.
any other benefits? Anything that you can tell the people out there that say, hey, you may be considering this. This is why you
Yeah.
have to do this.
Well, again, those are the biggest financial drivers, but it's also a better use of their resources, and it also really gets to this need for instant gratification. I mean, I'm sure you golfed in plenty of places where you reach a certain point and you would love to have a drink, right? You're thirsty. And you either go track down the person or get to a place where they have a convenience station, or you just wait. And 9 times out of 10, by the time you get to the clubhouse, you're going to buy some drinks there too, but you've already missed the opportunity to satisfy that customer and that guest experience earlier. So, what we've been hearing from a lot of the courses is this is really, it's a compliance aid, yes, but it's also kind of a guest satisfaction tool as well. And that, to me, that is probably the biggest benefit, because ultimately happy customers are going to drive your overall success, right? So I think it's really both profitability and how you're getting that profitability. And the other thing that we're really focused on is finding ways to make sure that every stakeholder wins, right? So from your staff, there's ways to set up the system so that your staff wins, even your bear cart people can win, and then also your guests as well as the obvious owners of the course.
So as a guest now, I'm thinking another benefit. I'm getting this Bud Light for the price of the Bud Light, right? I'm not having to tip every single time going
Right,
around. So your members are
right,
happy. They're getting an
right.
instant gratification. They're not having to overpay.
Mm-hmm.
Terrific. Win, win, win.
Right, exactly.
All right, fantastic. So zigit.com, www.zigit.com.
Dot app,
Dot app. I'm
APP.
sorry. Okay. Dot
Yeah,
app.
good to clarify.
ZIGIT.app. Let's do it.
That's right.
I'll make sure to
That's
have
right.
that right there streaming across the bottom for you.
Yeah, perfect.
Thank you very much, Elsbeth, for joining us. Take care. Stay
Thank
well.
you
Have a
so
great
much.
day.
Okay, thank you. You too.
All right.